Hey there, hi there, oh there, it's me, Bear, Gen X GM. Welcome to the the Society of Role-Playing Gamers. And tonight it's a four-color cafe, and I'm dead tired and out of energy, so this should be really confrontational. These guys are going to take this evening to try and tell me or explain to me or sell me on the concept of Battletech. Should be interesting to see what happens. But before they do that, let's go around the table and start on my whatever side that is on screen. Cody, go ahead. Introduce yourself, sir, please.
Hey, you know me, I'm GM Cody. I got a little channel and I just talk about old games that I like. Tonight we're talking about especially an old game that I like, one of my first games, which is Battletech.
And beneath him we have
Brian from Gaming with ADHD. Yeah, let's be honest, folks. You all know me at this point. But yeah, Battletech is Battletech combined with Robotech is literally responsible for getting me into gaming. So Bear has been reluctant the last few weeks when the Battletech topic has come up. So I think this will be an interesting challenge.
and underneath me and next to him we have
my turn. Max Liao from Legion of Myth, and if you can't tell that I'm a little Battletech fan, just look at my where the hell is my name right there in that corner. I've been going by the Max Liao moniker since the 80s and BBS days, and it was my first love as far as games go. I actually played it before I knew what role-playing, well, I'd played role-playing games, but before I really knew what role-playing games were, so it's really my first. Pop my cherry.
That doesn't sell me on it.
Think of it like a cougar.
So here's where it breaks down. I'm a role player, not a war gamer. I don't paint miniatures. I don't move armies. I don't measure distances. I don't track ammo and heat, and I don't do all these things. I played Battletech back in the day in high school. It was quite fun. But as the expression goes, it was swell, but the swelling went down, and that's fine. But these gentlemen and every fucking human I know on the internet loves Battletech like it's the greatest thing ever created. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's so good. Like to the point where they make jokes calling this guy below me a dirty Capellan. And, I made the comments one time saying, well, when I played, I liked House Davian. Vanilla. And I was like giving shit for liking House Davian, which I'm
As
like,
you
okay.
should.
That's like me saying I like House Atreides and you're giving me shit for liking House Atreides. You know what I mean? Like they're the good guys. But we're going to see what they can do to make me appreciate their big stompy robot game. And I'm going to say nothing more other than listen to you guys and ask questions when I have them. So who's got the guts to take the galaxy and start this conversation out?
No guts, no galaxy. That's the way to start. There you go.
Yeah, I'm more of a no guts, no glory Galaxy Rangers guy.
Hey, I mean, that's what I think I will just kind of riff off of that. That is one of the great things about the Battletech setting is that you can get all those kinds of stories. If you want to have the no guts, no galaxy, or however you said it with the Galaxy Rangers, which I just forgot because let's be honest, it's me. There are all types of stories that you can tell in the Battletech universe, and that is absolutely what has hooked me on the setting for 35 years.
Okay, well there you go on that one. Anybody else want to jump on that?
Yeah, well, I'll say Battletech's not for everybody. If you don't like old school war games, you're probably not going to like Battletech. So, and if you told me you didn't like war games, I'm probably not going to try to sell you on Battletech. But if you did like war games, here's the things that would sell you on it. First off, you don't have to spend a lot of money. That's a big thing in wargaming. You could literally go buy now, especially now with the plastic mechs, You can literally go buy a Lance MX for $15-20, and you know, the rule book. You don't even need the full rule book, just the BattleTech mech manual and a hex mat, and you can play BattleTech. You know, so and that's pretty cheap, all considered, when you put it against any other kind of miniature war game, or even a board game. You know, like a lot of these boutique war games that they sell now are pretty expensive compared to BattleTech. The other cool thing about BattleTech is it's a great setting.
Everyone says that. What's so great about it?
It is probably one of the most detailed and interesting science fiction settings I've ever seen. And it's absolutely ridiculous because it's literally just a fucking board game. The amount of lore that BattleTech has in it. It's absolutely insane.
Sorry, I'm just got a noisy cat.
Actually, I have to agree with Cody. It is rather ridiculous, especially compared to a lot of other, especially like role-playing settings. Like you'll see, like Dungeons and Dragons has a large amount of attached fiction to it.
Yeah.
But even coming from the same company with Shadowrun, BattleTech has far and away more fiction, and I'm even talking just the novels up until like the early 2000s. Like they had put out about 60 different novels, and in the same amount of time, they'd put out about, say, 20 to 30 Shadowrun novels in about the same amount of time. So it is very, very deep, very extensive as far as just a continuing timeline storyline.
I think the other cool thing about it is you can play BattleTech in a lot of different ways. It's very, very, very do what you want kind of thing. Like you can just lay down one hex mat and have a couple, a lance of mechs each, or even a couple mechs each, and throw down. Or you can do a full-on like role-playing kind of narrative campaign with a game master. You could expand that out and do a galaxy-wide campaign, and literally, there's rules for just about anything you want to do. There's rules for artillery, there's rules for keeping track of supplies, there's rules for tanks, there's rules for infantry, aerospace fighters, and you can combine all that together.
Or you could ignore most of that.
Yeah, well, you can ignore all that, and I usually do, right? Like, but the other thing about it is, I'm just saying that it can get as complicated or as crazy as you want, and you can play it in multiple different types of styles, and you have all the different eras, so if you want pretty basic, you can just play 30-25, which is what I prefer. Or, you could add in, the clans and do that whole thing. You can go further into what we're doing, what they have now. And, you can have the more advanced technology. And it's really crazy the amount of stuff you can do with BattleTech and the amount of ways you can play it and the amount of information there is for it. So it's a very customizable game, and it has a lot of different ways to play it. So
one of the things that I would like to piggyback on that is that one of the reasons why I ended up liking BattleTech back in the day, other than the fact I was actually allowed to play it, is as far as war games go, it's one of the most simplistic ones. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I still have the tables, +1 to walk, +2 to run, +1 per hex jump. Like you can memorize those tables really quickly without needing a big rule book. I could pull out the white rule book that I have right now. Half of it is just level 1, level 2 play. And the rules are like, 3 pages? There really isn't. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. Now, they over time did add more stuff, like Cody was saying, artillery and so forth. But you don't have to play with a lot of that. I mean, I do play with artillery and tanks and VTOLs and so forth, but I still do 30-25 tech because I think most of the new tech, clan tech, 30-50, 27-50 tech is nonsense anyway. And I don't play Build-A-Mech. In fact, at our tables, our rules for this, you will play the standard mech out of the book. But those mechs suck. Right. Every single person in the
on
world.
purpose.
Well, I don't know about on purpose. They were developed. At least the original mechs were developed to have a long range capability, a mid range capability, and a short range capability, and you weren't supposed to use it all at the same time. So we play those mechs, and if you want something really special, we use Mercenaries Handbook to roll to get special. But like Cody was saying, you can do it the other way. Just play a battle value game. Again, my tables don't use battle value, but you can just play a battle value game. Take whatever mech you want with whatever you want into it. So it can be as simple as complex as you want. And I heard you say the other day, Bear, something about that you thought that the game just got convoluted and complex for no reason. I actually agree with you on that. This is why most of my friends and I stick with the 3025 era mechs. It is the most tactical. Now, to be fair, it's also the longest games because you're not blowing up in one round. But they're the most tactical and the most fun for our group, But you want to play with elementals? You want to play with proto mechs? Do people still use that nonsense? Do you want?
They exist.
Do they? Okay, like if you can go all types of crazy with it, that again, other people can do that.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Bear.
So when we played when the game first came out. And the thing that I thought fascinating was they were always talking about how Star League technology was so insane that one fully functional Star League mech on the battlefield would just be mopping the floor with mechs. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the clans showed up, and it was supposed to be Star League Tech Evolved. And they were tough, but they weren't, shit-handing everybody on the battlefield. So I was like, well, then what's the deal with the Star League stuff? Is it as good as they say? I want to do that adventure where we find a cache of Star League mechs and become now we've got a chance to take the galaxy for ourselves or something, whatever the case may be. And I just find that a lot of the lore that was presented originally got watered down as they went along.
Okay, so that's true of a lot of Battletech, and this is actually I think Cody was talking about some of this earlier. Maybe it's just in my brain. Lost tech is a stupid concept. It doesn't happen. You don't lose technology through wars, you gain technology. But if you talk to, I don't know if Bill says the same thing, but I know Weissman has said it a few times. They had to make it fit on a tabletop. I know Omenel is in chat right now, and he hates the fact that, why do weapons only go 90 meters? Well, because they had to make the dumb game fit on the tabletop and cram in lore to make that fit. Yes, you're right. In the 1980s, we had better targeting technology than they have in the year 3025. You have to have some sort of suspension of disbelief in order to fit it on the tabletop itself. And for some people, that's a deal breaker. But yeah, Lost Tech is dumb. The way the clans are implemented is dumb. And again, Weissman has said himself that it wasn't implemented the way, I don't know if he said the way they intended or it didn't work out the way they intended or whatever, but he admits that was a mistake and how that came out. So, there's a lot of those idiosyncrasies in there as far as the game goes. It wasn't supposed to be Build-A-Mech. This is my big complaint about all Battletech, even going back today. It was never supposed to be Build-A-Mech. You were supposed to use the TROs or the mechs there. The Build-A-Mech concept, like how do you build a mech, came from the idea, well, you might want to have your own house game, your own homebrew universe. So this is how we created mechs. But of course, once you put that out there, people are like, oh, I can make my own mechs. It's the best thing ever. I can't wait to do it. And the game turned into Build-A-Mech.
So
no, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse.
So one thing that I'll point out is that it is a game. So like even at least in modern rule books for Battletech, they literally say that there is a difference between the rules and the lore and the fluff and the background, because when you eventually get the stuff to paper or to the table, there are only so many limitations. And some of the stuff as far as like, oh, well, the Star League is supposed to be super amazing and really good and destroy all of the modern mechs in one shot. But also keep in mind that in a lore type setting, it's been 300 years since that happened. They lost the ability to make some of that technology. Now,
right.
What was that?
Right.
Yeah. So with the clans, that was supposed to be Star League plus, so better than Star League. And you're right in that when the clan stuff shows up, that it's really good. It's better than the Inner Sphere stuff, but again, you're now in a lore type setting. You're dealing with these people that we haven't seen for 300 years.
Also, the 3050 tech was out by then. So 3050 tech narrowed the gap. If you just go straight clan versus 3025, while I have done it, I've won a few matches doing that, it's not easy. Between the ranges, between the piloting skills, gunnery skills, between, especially pulse, well, they don't have pulse stage, but the main thing is the ranges and the piloting, the gunnery skills just make those clan mechs crazy powerful if you're going average versus average.
Okay. Well, I think the clans are dumb.
Good.
I never liked them. I thought they were a stupid idea. They annoyed me, and it's what made us stop playing was when the clans were introduced. My buddy's like, "We got to play," and we looked at it and we were like, "No, we're good, man. We're gonna go play superheroes. This is stupid." And that's how we felt. And I never went back to BattleTech ever after that. Then all those other games, Heavy Gear and shit, came out. None of them interested me. So I'm sort of left in this mentality of, I don't want to read a shit ton of novels because I remember the early BattleTech novels. They were bad and poorly edited and poorly written.
Most of them.
The early ones?
Yeah. Really bad. Like tons of bad editing and shit like that. It was just a chore to read them, I almost read like fanfic. But I'm a role player. I'm not a tactical gamer. So I could never get myself around my head around the mech warrior concept. It's like, oh, we're going on this espionage mission. Let's jump out of our mechs and go do something. But now we got to jump back into our mechs and have a 2-hour fight on the grid. So did they ever fix that? Did they ever make a skirmish game that made mech stuff faster to fight? Or is it still the same plotting level of bleh?
Alpha Strike.
They made Alpha Strike.
What's Alpha Strike?
Alpha Strike's a really, really totally different game. It's made it's absolutely designed for like company level, which is 12 mechs and bigger. Okay. And it's made to play on a gridless mat. It was made to play like a regular miniatures game. And it's way more simple and stripped down and a lot easier to play. There's a lot less going on there. Like mechs have, a little stat block like this, and you're like not
3
really
hit points.
Yeah, I mean, like you don't have all this shit to keep track of. You don't keep track of heat. All you have is like one little stat there that little boxes there you fill in your damage, and that's it. There are some optional things to give it some more depth. Yep, exactly. Yep.
So yeah,
that's
all you need for Alpha Strike.
SML, short, medium, long.
Right. I have not played Alpha Strike yet, but yes, this is everything that you had in the 8.5 by 11 sheet, but for Alpha Strike.
So I don't know about Brian and Cody's experience with this. So I actually kind of hope that they have different experiences with this. But in the role-playing side of it, whether it's so the first edition Mech Warrior book is nothing but let's tack on a couple of skills to your BattleTech character. It's when they had those old folios and so forth. Second edition really tried to be a role-playing game. Third edition even went further with the whole life path and whatnot. But they all suffered the same issue in my experience, and I stand by this argument because this is all I've ever seen. You either are playing a character that you found a way to actually tweak the system to even be a better mech warrior than you should have been, but that's the only thing you're good at, or you should go play Traveler. Like that's really what it comes down to. If you're not in the giant stompy robot, the closest we came to was we actually played a tank group, well, we have 4 people, but they all piloted the same tank. So we had a gunner, a pilot, a driver, et cetera, just to try to fill out the role like that. But if you try to have somebody that does espionage, you're still going to have one hotshot or one mech jock. If you try to have people that are just in espionage, what's the point of playing in the BattleTech universe when you can have a better system out there? You can still fake the universe some degree. But my experience is the role-playing side of it never fully comes to fruition. If you want sci-fi big stompy robots, just play Robotech or Traveler or something like that. It saddens me to say that because I love me some Battletech, but
yeah, I mean, it's not selling me on the game to say go play something else, right?
Right. Look, I stand by the fact, as much as I've got a whole ton of Battletech stuff, you can see the whole row up there, plus it goes down to here. I would say it for me. I play it for tabletop games. I do now. We do role play as amongst my friends in terms of lore. Like somebody, but I think it's Nerds Nerd said nobody ever does custom mechs. Well, I've literally never seen that at conventions or anywhere I've ever played. If I meet new people, they're always making custom mechs. Always making custom mechs. It's only within my friend circle that they don't do that. So I've had the opposite experience as her. So I'm glad she hasn't had that. But we'll still do the okay. If you're playing Karita, you'll do the Bushido. If I'm playing Capellan, I'm a nutball. Usually I'm trying to say, I took 5 points of damage. I have to run away because I can't lose this mech or my house will die. Davian, we actually play with the regimental combat team. So we'll actually combine forces a little better. So we add a little role play in that way, and we'll allow surrenders, pilot ejections. Well, Von Zark doesn't a pilot and whatnot, but that's it. That's really the extent of the role play for that. Other than that, it's putting the giant stompy robots on the table and just having fun. And again, I don't use battle value. We just take tonnage and we take mechs we like. And if it's the same mech every time, like the jerks who always want to play the Jenner, you're going to use the first edition Mercenaries Handbook. We're going to roll to see if you actually got a Jenner because we want to see things out there that are more interesting. I love the Whitworth. A lot of people hate it. I think I love it. It's one of my favorite mechs. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually Cody. Did you want to say anything before I jump in?
Yeah, it's not a role-playing game. I don't think it works well as a role-playing game, but it does have it, like Max was saying, it does have some role-playing elements to it, and it was kind of originally designed to play that way. Like it was obviously designed. A lot of war games were that came from the early '80s. They assumed you would have a referee, and if you play Battletech that way, it's actually a really, really cool experience. And you kind of do get into your characters and your role and stuff. I've played a couple campaigns like that where I'm running the game and like they're playing either like a lance or a company from a house or like a mercenary company. And they actually like get into their characters, like start talking in accents and stuff because everybody's controlling that one mech and that pilot. And then he goes through the mission and gets some experience and, his mech gets beat up and, so there is this kind of like role-playing thing that happens in that type of game.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to play Battletech that way, but it's not like as far as the Mech Warrior role-playing game goes, I've tried it a few times and I kind of had the same experience as everybody else. I'm just kind of like, why don't we just fucking play Battletech? Because it's not a role-playing. I don't think it's a very good universe for role-playing.
Cody said something that's really awesome though. My best experiences for like a long term, because there are rules for character progression in your mech, like 4 kills, 5 kills, whatever it's supposed to be. I forget, but is that mercenary company thing where you get your mission, you role play the mission out a little bit, like in the negotiation for the mission, the salvage, then you do the battle, and then you come out and you look at your finances like, okay, Cody, you lost a large laser. How long is it going to take to fix that? Well, I don't have a large laser. Do you want to replace it with something else? Well, yes, I do. I want to replace it with 5 medium lasers. Well, that's 5 separate jury rig rolls. Good luck with that, buddy. I know a lot of people hand wave that stuff, but I hate that. That should be part of it. Mechs aren't designed to just be build a mech. That's why the clans were so cool with that, is they could just snap on, snap off weapons. But that whole mercenary growth thing, if you like that sort of combat, yeah, you do the you do the negotiation for the mission, you play the mission on the table, and then you sit around and figure out how much money and salvage you got and how you're going to divvy it out. Is that role playing?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with Cody a little bit in that I think it's a perfectly fine universe to role play in. I don't necessarily think that Mech Warrior is or a Time of War or whatever version of the role playing game it is now. I don't think that is the role playing game you should play for that particular universe.
Have you played Destiny?
I have
the new
not.
one. Okay. Well, I have a friend that plays it regularly, and he's been trying to talk me into joining his game. Because we have this argument all the time. I'm like, Battletech's not a good universe for role playing. He's like, I beg to differ, sir. I'm going to run a game and you're going to play in it. And I'm like, okay, fine. But he tells me the new Mech Warrior Destiny is actually pretty good for what it does. Yeah. And apparently
it
also
solves that problem though of like if you have 2 people in the group that want to just be mech jocks and everybody else wants to actually be useful characters, outside the mech, that it actually can combine them effectively. Because the other previous editions could not do that.
Right. And apparently there's like a really good slimmed down alternate mech combat in there that a lot of people are using to play Battletech with. Like people have tweaked that and house built it. So that's another option.
What's that?
I'm not sure. It's there. So people have taken the mech combat rules from Mech Warrior Destiny, and it's like a more streamlined way of playing Battletech. And they use that in conjunction with the Battletech rules, and it's become this whole like community of people that are playing Battletech with those rules for just the mech combat. And apparently, it works really well. I don't know. I haven't done it personally, but it's another option.
That sounds like the rules changed to Dark Age to me. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
There you go. Did you like Mage Knight, Bear?
Never played it.
Oh, okay. I hated Mech Warrior. I wanted to like the Mech Warrior Click, but it had two issues with it. First one was I don't like collector. That's why I don't play Magic or anything like that. I want to buy what I want to buy, not guess what I'm going to get in the box. That's the first one. The second one was it's just these really weird pedantic rules that were really dumb. Like I'm an eighth an inch away, so I'm actually not touching your base, so you can't conquer my mech. And they had all these mech takeover things, like people climb up the mech, rip out the pilot, take over the mech. No, that stuff was nonsense. But I wanted to like it because I thought it was neat that you could just have these plastic mechs, put it on a table, didn't need a map board, put a Kleenex box in a way and call it a hill. And,
yeah. Yeah, you can do that. I remember the art for the original Mech Warrior helmet was this really cool, totally like, sensory deprivation helmet, And then I see the later stuff and they just look like asshole fighter jocks,
Yep.
What happened?
People don't find 80s art to be interesting.
The clans, you say?
Well, that was part of it. Like that's like when they did the cartoon. that was definitely mixed because they had some art.
I watched that cartoon. It was awful.
First Somerset Strikers was bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they had some art where they had the full helmets. Again, it goes back to that whole, Lost Tech idea. But with the cartoon, they also brought in the enhanced imaging tattoos. So the clans would like tattoo circuitry in their face, and that would work for their neuro helmet.
I do like how they've made it official now that it's part of the lore. And that the cartoon was just a cartoon or TV show in the Battletech universe now.
Well, so that's what was the name of the show that was always in
Black
the
Sheep
novels?
Squadron.
No. It was always in the novels. It was a famous Hollywood show, and I forget the name of. I would know it if I heard it. So they're treating it like that now.
Yeah,
which is a Hollywood. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but I think it's supposed to be like 50-50 because like the units are all real. But then also it's like
based on the true events,
right? Exactly.
Right.
Based on
it happened,
events.
but it's like a dramatization of what happened. Yeah.
It sounds like you got to get real deep in the weeds on this game.
Not really. You can get as deep as you want to. Like you don't have to really know squat about it. You don't have to know anything about the lore, and you could have fun playing the game. And the lore is just there if you want it. And you can soak in as much of it as you want. Now, I will say that if you get into it, you get into it. Like it's one of those games you're like, what is this? Like what is this? You start looking for painting ideas and stuff, and you're like, okay, what is this? What is this regiment or company or whatever all about? And like, who are these guys? And like and then you start getting deep in the weeds of all the wars and stuff, but it really doesn't matter in the end. It's actually kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
It is, but it's fun. It's fun, ridiculous though.
Yeah.
Like if you can't handle any clown shoes, which is normally me, so I'm glad I got into Battletech when I was younger. I probably, if I were to get into it today, I probably wouldn't like it. But I'm so used to it now. I so understand. In fact, the more they try to make it serious and retcon things because it wasn't appropriate, blah blah blah. The more look, Space Bushido, Space Soviet Union, Space Western Europe, space Yugoslavia, and space basically Germany, Poland. I mean, come on, tell me that's not awesome. Oh, and then let's carve out this little area of space Sweden that speaks a language called Swedenese. That's Like, come on.
Oh boy.
And a pirate took over the entirety of the Star League. It's great.
Somebody asked on here if 40K, I mean, if Battletech was as expensive as 40K. Fuck no, it's not.
Not even anywhere close.
Way cheaper. Way
So-
cheaper.
Expensive or extensive?
Expensive cost.
I think he said expensive. And yeah.
All right.
And I would dare say that people, and guys, correct me if your experience is different, but people in Battletech are much more acceptable of proxying than in Warhammer. Like, I have 8 mechs to my name. You can probably, they're behind me now. That's it. I've had 8 mechs since the 90s. Some of those old designs people have offered to buy off me. Apparently, they're worth money.
Gonna send it eventually.
Okay,
Max.
then I'll have 12. But there are people with cases of mechs. We just say that, okay, this spider is now a locust. And people are like, okay. Like we're in Warhammer, it's like, you didn't paint it the right amount of colors and it's not represented perfectly. You can't play at my table. We played with lint. We played with dice with arrows on it for the front location of a mech. Like we did all types of weird stuff when we were poor kids to play.
So real quick, and this is just official material. If you want to play the battle game, this is $25. This is the beginner set. It's actually a bit of a stripped down rule set, so there's a lot that is missing from it. But it gives you a couple of mechs. It gives you some modern versions of those, so you get some standees, so you have some extra mechs that you can play with. You can be as expensive or as budget friendly as you want with this. When I was a kid, I started playing because I photocopied this. This is the cheat sheet for the game. So I photocopied this. A friend of mine gave me a map, and I would literally use a D4 for a mech because it was pointy, and I knew which direction it was facing.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we played out of the original, well, not the original. It was the 3rd edition box set, and it just came with standees. And we played out of that box set for years without anything else.
First edition.
Yeah, first edition was the same way. And then we got that box set for years. I got the City Tech box set a couple years later, and it actually had plastic miniatures in it. It had tons of plastic miniatures.
What? Yours had plastic miniatures in it?
Yeah. Well, So the 3rd edition box set had plastic in it. The 4th edition one the first one I got, had standees in it. But the City Tech box set at that time that I bought, it had plastic miniatures in it. And it came with a lot of them, too. And they were pretty decent figures. They were literally just sculpts. They were, the old pewter sculpts that they just made plastic. They were pretty nice for the time. So, yeah, I mean, and nowadays they have those really nice plastic figures, and they're cheap.
There's one cool thing to come out of Battletech, though. The Minnesota tribe.
Oh, jeez.
Gotta represent all my Minnesotans.
I need coffee. James has joined in because he's been playing Battletech since the 80s. Why don't you guys splurge out while I'm making coffee, and then we'll come back and see if you can convince me to play this game. James, you there?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you can. For some reason, my camera's not functioning. It might be a Linux twitchy issue. Anyway, yeah, I've been playing Battletech since '86. With the one little soft cover book.
The white one?
The white one, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Robotech was on TV and Battletech was out. It was.
So I was playing Robotech at the same time, the Palladium Robotech, and I ended up liking Battletech more because I never liked ninja robots, and I liked the idea of a more thunder boom, boom, like robot, almost like the Star Wars stuff. Yeah. So I ended up liking Battletech more than Robotech.
Lately, I've been more playing. I mean, if I'm playing Battletech, then I'm mostly using Mech HQ or MegaMech to play against people online, and that's a lot of fun. And you can design your own mechs and do that. But the Mech HQ one, I mean, we did a year-long campaign using that thing, running scenarios. It was a campaign where you're attempting not to go under. You're trying not to overspend, and you're trying to buy the right stuff, and always take the right contracts. And and we ended up making it like an empire building type campaign.
I never played around with Mech HQ. I did a lot of Mega Mech, but never played around with Mech HQ. Omanol says, "Where are my lambs? They've been retconned out, sir."
They've been retconned back in.
Have they really?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Nice.
Well, no, and actually, they never retconned them out. They literally
They literally stopped talking about them. Like what?
right. They made like one reference to them, and they're like, "Yeah, these are dumb. We're not doing this anymore." And that was during the Twilight of the Clan story.
Oh, they retconned them out before then, or at least they stopped talking about them before then.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that was like the last reference was like,
oh, okay,
there were
gotcha.
there were some clan pilots trying to do some stuff with it, and it just went sideways.
Because you played what, Crescent Talks Inception? You got a lamb at the end of it or something, and it's like, awesome, I got a lamb. We don't deal with that nonsense anymore. It's like, oh,
right. So, for King Eric, lambs, LAM, land air mech, basically the
Veritex,
the Veritex from Robotech, because they had the rights to use them. So, yeah, theoretically, so why not use them? But yeah, that's
right. A nerd's nerd.
That's one of the things. Like it is like we've said it multiple times now. Just the variety of things that you can do with it. If you want to run just all tanks, if you want to run, if you want to run just mechs, which is admittedly all I ever do.
I hate how they nerfed tanks.
Well, see, it's weird because I haven't played a lot recently, and I still only play with pretty much old books when I do. People have told me that it's because tanks used to be glass cannons. They were freaking amazing because they could just put out a whole ton of damage, but hit them twice and 3 criticals and they're dead, or can't drive anywhere anymore. Turrets locked. But that's what made them kind of fun, is that glass cannon aspect of them. People have told me now that they're not even worth putting on the field.
Well, I mean, like Demolisher is scary if it shoots first.
Yeah, if it shoots first. Yeah, well, wasn't it always though? Wasn't it 2 AC-20s, if I remember correctly?
It's horrifying. Yeah.
we used to do.
The corner and,
we used to like to do combined arms, so we would play like 2 lances because we would know that if we did 2 lances of mechs, we'd be here all weekend. But if we did a lance where 3 tanks and a mech per lance, we could actually have a lot of fun with that. I like mixing that stuff in.
Like a Russian CRP, a combat recce patrol.
Okay. I didn't know that's what they did, but yeah.
Generally 3 APCs in a tank. So 3 BMPs in a tank would be the combat recce patrol. Anyway.
6 Savannah Masters and never mind.
Yeah. You can't touch me. You can't touch me. Boom.
Well, like the alternate rules for like the Ontos heavy tank, because it has those 8 medium lasers, and it says they can be group fired 4 and 4. So you just roll 1 die, and either all 4 hit or all 4 miss on each side.
Okay.
So
I just like the with the battle mechs, it does have an ablative thing, and I mean realism, no, not really, but it is a fun, balanced, engaging game. I mean, for a tabletop miniatures game, trying to get role playing in it is very difficult because you need to role play in your vehicle, and that's the only time you're really participating is when you're in a mech battle or something along those lines. It's very hard to shoehorn role playing into it because if you're outside your mech, you're just like everybody else. Well, unless you're an elemental. But who is?
What's an elemental?
Clan infantry.
Think Arnold Schwarzenegger in his heyday times 2.
Yeah.
Very noticeable that you are a big, bulky guy that is beyond normal human.
Almost like Astartes. Space Marine.
Warhammer.
Would you, I mean, I'm not talking mythological strength-wise, but would you say that the rendition of the Hulk?
Yeah.
Okay. And then was it the aerospace ones have like these big weird egg heads?
Big heads, good for high G maneuvers and stuff. I mean, yeah, they went a little overboard, but they said that their infantry were bred to be huge.
Yes.
So 7-footers and so on.
Bear's eyes are just glazing over.
You're just jargon as far as I'm concerned right now. And it's okay. It's just I don't understand anything you're saying. I don't understand anything anybody in the chat saying, and I'm just like, yeah, this is why I don't like Battletech.
Well, I think what it is us and the chat, I could be wrong in this, are trying to find that balance because you like role playing, so we want to kind of add role playing elements to it. But it really is just a tactical board game. And one of my selling points for people as far as tactical board games, especially those who I don't say don't like them, but are intimidated by them, because I don't like a lot of Napoleonic type, like those rules when your rule book is that big, I'm out. The Battletech rules are crazy simple. At least they used to be crazy simple.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like no stress over it. You just know, hey, I'm standing in some trees, +1. All right, maybe +2 if they're heavy, whatever. Like, just that's it. Like, there isn't a lot to remember. So you can focus on just playing the game and having fun with your friends with giant stompy robots. If that's not your thing, I hate to talk you out of it, Bear, but I wouldn't suggest Battletech as a role-playing game.
I think from a battle complexity thing, it is his thing because it's so simple.
Stop. Stop. I'm trying to be pitched on Battletech, not on whether it can be a role-playing game. I asked the question just to see if there's any serious answer that the company had actually dealt with to make a role-playing component to it. I think it has the same role-playing potential that Dune has. I think it has the same role-playing potential that Warhammer 40K has, which is none. You are either the shit or you're what the shit scrapes off the bottom of its shoe, and therefore not fascinating to me. I do think the universe is insanely fascinating. I think it's really interesting, and I could almost see it being something interesting if you took the giant stompy robots out and just had military. It would be a very interesting setting from that point of view. I just don't find the giant robots all that interesting as a result because, well, they don't make sense.
The two parts to that. That's actually a great anecdote. First of all, you could just go back in time before mechs were developed, and you could play one of the early eras, right? The second thing is, before the stupid Helm Core nonsense with the Grey Death Legion, honestly, mechs were rare, especially assault mechs. Assault mech, somebody's serious. Like this has gone too far. So you have a lot more vehicles and infantry. Now, we didn't play a lot of Battle Force because my friends didn't like it, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. But Battle Force was a game as well where you dealt with infantry. And so you can do that. You absolutely can do it. Make a tank crew and be like, look at the epitome. You're not worthy of a mech, so you're going to be in a tank. Sorry, you're not landed, or you're not noble, you didn't come from a mercenary family or whatever. You just joined the military, and now you got to follow some orders. You could run it just like your Star Trek game, except for more infantry oriented or combat vehicle oriented. Yeah. You could do it that way, absolutely, and you would be in canon.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm not sold yet. Obviously, it's only been 43 minutes. You've got a longer road to hoe than that. But I'm not saying I wouldn't be willing to try it. I don't like that online thing everyone uses. What's it called?
Megamech.
Oh my god, it's so ugly. It's so ugly.
The map board. It's the 2D map board.
It's so ugly.
Well, but it's also like 8-bit graphics.
Yeah, it's ugly as fuck.
Well, you could use one. So I use Megamech, but also for the automation, which is nice. But me and my buddy Andrew play a lot of Battletech on Tabletop Simulator, and it's a lot prettier, obviously, because it's all 3D and fully customizable. Now, when you're doing Tabletop Simulator, though, nothing's automated, so you're going to have to keep track of all the rules and stuff. But it's fine. Like we got the charts right there in front of us. We roll the dice on digitally, and it works great. And I
want to talk to you about that someday.
Yeah,
I'm very interested in that.
No, it's very cool.
Apparently, you're selling him on it. So that's.
I watched you try it, Cody, and I watched you maneuvering with. I think you were doing squad leader, or you were demonstrating Tabletop Simulator. It is fiddly.
Really it can be a little fiddly. There's ways to make it so for a board game, it's not so bad. Okay. For a board game, it's not so bad. I would not recommend Tabletop Simulator even for miniatures games. I play a lot of miniatures games on there. But the one flaw of it is I do not recommend it for multiple levels. So don't play Necromunda, basically. It's going to be your worst fucking nightmare. It doesn't handle that very well. But if you're staying on one level or two, fine. So for board games, it works perfectly fine.
That's the advantage of MegaMech, is it will calculate the line of sight for you.
MegaMech's fully automated.
Oh, and it'll even hide the enemies that you can't actually see.
Yeah, the limited intelligence is why I love MegaMech. I'm sorry, you call it double blind now, but whatever.
Yeah.
I absolutely, that is my favorite reason for MegaMech.
Oh, try city fighting with that damn thing on.
Yeah.
And no beagle probes. Holy shit.
Is Dale talking shit or is Dale being serious? Yeah, I don't trust Dale. So
it's an opinion. I mean, it has the same flaws that we were talking about before. I think each successive edition has tried to become better and better and better at being a role-playing game, vice just an offshoot of the tabletop top game. But I've played second edition more than any other edition as far as the role-playing goes, and I still feel it falls into that same trap of you either end up making a hotshot pilot so you can be I get 3d6 to roll my dice to shoot somebody, or you suck in a mech so bad you never want to get in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've preferred Time of War. I had the first edition, the second edition. I think I skipped the third edition, but I have Time of War, which I believe is fourth edition. Maybe fifth. And Time of War, I think, does the best job of it.
Okay.
I like the life path character creation in it, which is kind of nice. And it makes an attempt at being a role-playing game. The problem is the premise of the game itself. So if you didn't allow people into mechs, you said, right, you're role-playing anything except a mech warrior. Well.
Or aerospace pilot.
Or aerospace play. Anything that is not a solo. I mean, if you're a tank crew, for example, then you might have a shot. Or if you're none of that at all and you're just the spy, the scout who is, wrecking the battlefield on behalf of mechs that are going to follow you and stuff like that, you could play that sort of thing. But almost inevitably, you're playing the name means it, Time of War. You're not at peace anywhere for most of the time. You're at war with somebody, and those are the kinds of missions that you'll get are wartime missions. And there are lots of opinions on how easy or difficult that is to manage. But you're a very small part of a very large machine, and you play that. But you'd have to eliminate you from being one of the main combatants, like a mech warrior, unless you were doing it as a scouting troop and that was your function. You weren't to engage, you were simply to recce, find information and take it back and then do whatever, maybe lightning raids and that sort of thing. But stand up, slug it out type fights, I don't think you're going to get much role playing out of that. Even though that's the focus of the game.
I played Mech Commander back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or early 2000s. That video game, the isometric one, turn-based and all that. It was quite fun.
Mech Commander 1, other than the inability to actually make a neuro helmet, had the best introduction of any Mech Warrior game ever. Warhammer, boss, Warhammer! Or whatever, I forget what the...
So was a company command type game, wasn't it, Barry?
Yeah.
It was, you had a squad and you ran around and you had to do stuff and you had missions. It was quite fun.
Yeah.
And I like Mech Warrior Online. One thing only about it, which is really weird that this is the thing I like about it. I really like the graphics when the lasers hit.
Mm-hmm.
It paints the section with energy. I like that. It looks so fucking cool, right? So I like that. I mean, I like mechs. I'm fine with mechs. I mean, I prefer super robots, but I don't hate mechs. I just hate Gundam because it's so dumb. It's just endless. It's like, oh fuck, this never ends. And that's what Battletech's starting to feel like. As I look at it, it's like, God, there's just way too much. Like it's overwhelming at some point, And where do you start? Well, you start with the box set. Okay, I start with the box set, but then I want to play clans. I want elementals. I want this. I want that. And it's like, okay, guys, whoa.
No.
I'd like to just go back to play the original Battletech myself and try that.
3025 is an option.
And it's the right option.
No, I don't mean 3025. I mean the original
Battle
Halo
droids
box set called Battletech from FASA.
Yeah,
that
that's
was bought in
30. That's the
88.
3025 stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, later it gets called 3025 and rebranded and all that wonderful. I want to go back to that original game and play that. Like the retro, not the new version of it, the old version of it.
That's the Warhammer, the Marauder, the Locust. And,
Yeah, the Archer, the Crusader. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to play.
And you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I'm telling you, that's how we play.
Yeah.
And also, Bear, you can do that with more or less with the modern stuff.
Yeah, as soon as you say more or less,
it's because
don't get the modern rule.
You absolutely can. Oh, you just get the Battle Mech manual. It's only Battle Mech rules.
Yeah.
Print you off the record sheets. Get you, a hex mat. You can buy packs of them. I think they still sell those, right?
Yes, they do.
And then get you a couple Lance boxes, and boom, you're good to go.
Okay, two things. First of all, for the pedants out there, sorry, it used to be called the Third Succession War era, not 3025. What? Same thing. It's 3025. The second thing is this is how you teach people how to play BattleTech. I've been saying this for many years, and a lot of people hate me for this because they think I'm trying to push people out of the hobby. And if that's what it does, great. You give a new player, and this is 3025 era again, a 3025 Dervish and a 3025 Crusader. And so those are your two mechs. The mechs you take, you're not trying to defeat him. You're trying to teach somebody how to play. So you just take two other mechs that you can put on the field and play against them, do some move. Yeah. If that person doesn't leave the game going, this game's stupid, this whole heat thing, blah, 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 you have got yourself a BattleTech fan. If the person does nothing but complain about heat, get out of here. Because one of my pet peeves of modern BattleTech players is they all do everything they can to remove the heat aspect of the game. And that's supposed to be part of the game. That's core to the game.
I agree with you.
Marauder's a bitch.
Yeah, if you don't like all those elements, don't play classic BattleTech. You have other options now. You can go play Alpha Strike. Go play Alpha Strike, and
but
that'll.
If you want the basic, simple, fun game, then do 3025 and don't get the brand new rule book that has dozens and dozens of pages of all kinds of weird shit. Just find an old rule book.
Just get the Battle Mech. Just get the Battle Mech manual. Well, do not buy the Total War book.
And Cody, not
don't
necessarily
buy the Total War book. It's horrible layout.
Hold on, I'm not going to say the Total War book. I'm not going to say the Total War book.
Okay.
So the reason I'm pushing back against the Battle Mech manual, which I actually don't have a problem with, because for Bear's knowledge, the Battle Mech manual is, hey, here are the rules to play BattleTech with big stompy robots. No tanks, no infantry, no airplanes, no nothing. Big stompy robots.
Excellent.
Okay. However, it is not just the basic rules from the Total Warfare book, which is the core rule book. They actually add in some additional advanced rules. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So my personal recommendation, to give yourself couple of maps, variety, the actual, like the rules I think that you are looking for. My recommendation is the Game of Armored Combat box, because you get 8 miniatures, so which you can proxy, so you get plenty of stuff that you can work with. You get 2 maps, you get rules, that are more than sufficient for the level of play that you want. And it's all 3025 era, no clans, no extra nothing.
Yeah, I think that's a good option too, is just buy this whatever is it still called the Armored Combat? Is that still the starter box?
That's the starter box.
Okay, yeah. That's a great option too. And yeah, you're right. It's got all the rules, basic rules for the mechs in there, and from there you can just buy more mechs and you're good to go.
The cheat sheet.
The cheat sheets are important. You definitely need the reference sheets. So actually I retract my statement. I think Brian's got a better idea. And then you can just buy. No, he's right though. He's
going to be insufferable now.
And
a better idea.
And I'm going to toss one in the ring, because I have them on my shelves, and unfortunately my camera is shitting the bed, so I can't.
Linux.
Well, I didn't have a problem with StreamYard this morning, so I don't know. I was on it twice, but join yours and Pit. So I have on my shelf City Tech right next to my Battletech Game of Armored
Yeah,
Combat.
I remember City Tech and Aero Tech and
Exactly.
Boat Tech
But
and
Battletech Game
Cave
of Armored
Tech
Combat,
and
the only box you need. It has maps. It has paper cutout figurines that somebody was holding up earlier.
Can
I
you
think
still
it's maps.
find that original version though?
I don't know, but I bet he can. He finds anything.
Yeah, but you can get the new one, like Brian was saying,
But
and
you
it
don't
actually
want
has.
the new one. He
It's-
wants the old one. He
Yeah.
wants the one that's closest to the 86 version.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing
Just
is
after Battle Droids.
yeah, but the rules, while yes, they are a little different.
Look,
Have-
the new partial cover rules can go pound sand.
So
That's why I held up this book, because this is the compendium. It's got too much in there for you, but it's only that thick.
Clan mech there on the cover. Though, sir.
It is.
is.
It includes the 30-50 stuff. But my point is,
that.
hear me out for a second here.
You
Is
screwed
that
yourself,
this is the
man.
most complete rules of the old version of the game. It's either that or yes, get the old box set with the white book, which is the best book. And I'm with you on that. Like I'm supporting Bear in this one. Get that old second edition box with the white book in it. But I tried looking for that about a year ago, because mine's pretty trash after having it since the mid '80s. And people are charging like $200-300 for it.
And that's why I say Game of Armored Combat.
Pointy Frostman. What's $60 on eBay right now?
Really?
Well, don't know what he's talking about. He could be talking about City Tech for all we know. You guys
Oh,
mentioned
okay.
a lot of shit. Well, he was,
If he's
Oh,
talking,
I won't cock block you, but I want it.
if he's talking
I
the
don't want
BattleTech compendium, that is not cheap, and you only get the rules.
Yeah.
Where like Amazon Canada, $65 for Game of Armored Combat.
Yeah, I know it's cheap for the new one, but
Like I said, the
See, I use vinyl maps. I don't use the maps that came with the game anyway. So I mean that's never been an issue for me.
Pointy, can you throw me the link on Discord, please?
but Max, even in that case, the Game of Armored Combat comes with 2 maps double-sided, so it's a nice intro variety selection, as it were.
I mean, hey, if it'll get him interested in the game, I'm all for it. It just doesn't sound like he wants that one. So
Reading Starfighter. I got to play it. I got to see if it's fun again. I haven't played it in 30 years, More than that. Shit, I haven't played it in 40 years. No, not 40. 35?
Close.
About 35 years I haven't played that fucking game.
Yeah, so almost at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, no, we were playing a bit, and then we got into Aerotech, which was stupid, and I hated it. The
Yeah.
lambs.
What?
City Tech was just Battletech in a city, so that wasn't too bad.
It was fine.
City
And
Tech
then-
has one of my favorite stories. I turned, I skid, and I sandpapered my mech into nothing.
Done that. Yeah, that's not fun.
That's what happens when you take a spider, try to run all 12 and turn.
Why did somebody put a bank vault at the end of this street?
I didn't
I'm
make it to
sliding
the
right
end. I
into it.
just skidded. The damage just sandpapered my mech into like.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. No link yet, so I'll wait. Let's go to
mute and try and
what?
just mute it. So I'm going to try to mute and troubleshoot. I hate not being able to see.
All right. So explain to me again why this is such a good thing.
Okay, so looking at the back of the box, so you get record sheets. You get that. Okay, actually, just stop your mouse right there. Okay, over on the right in the upper right corner, you've got the record sheets. Just to the left of it, you've got some cardboard standees, which actually represent the same miniatures that you get in plastic. So you can actually run extra beyond just the 8 that you have if you want to get into some big crazy games. You get a small little 8-page lore booklet. You get the rules, which in my opinion are are good enough for any game of Battletech. It's going to be like 90% of what you need. Total Warfare, Battle Mech Manual are just going to add more and make it more complex. Those cards that you see just above the miniatures, those are some variants if you want to play with Alpha Strike rules. Basically, they're pilots. They have like some special abilities. I haven't used them at all. So again, more miniatures, and the miniatures that you get they're new designs of classic mechs.
Yeah, no, I think they did a good job on those.
Yeah, I've been very happy with all of the miniatures that they've put out. But yeah, it for the cost that you're going to pay, like a lance of 4 mechs runs you $25 US. And so you get 2 lances worth of mechs and everything else for the cost of 2 lances worth of mechs. So it just the math for me is what does it.
See, if they were pre-painted, that would interest me a lot more. I don't paint, so I don't care.
Well, the good thing about first off, you don't have to paint a lot. Second, battle mechs are easy as hell to paint. You know,
I don't paint.
Well,
at all.
You can get
so
somebody to paint.
Another cost effect. I'd have to go and start buying paints and brushes and getting into that. Finding a space in my home to sit down and do this garbage. Like,
but you don't
so much.
But you don't have to do that. If you want colored mechs, the standees.
Hey, we don't use that term around here. Sure, we use the term mechs of color.
Mechs of color.
What he was saying. It's just the book.
Yeah, no. That's what I linked you is just the book. Yeah, you don't need anything else. You just need the book.
I remember this. Oh God, I remember this. Wow, that takes me back. Which mech? That's the
Shadowhawk.
Shadowhawk. Which one was the Battlemaster?
We don't talk about that one. Hans Davian spec. Nobody wants that nonsense.
Battlemaster.
It's the one that looks like it has a giant caterpillar for a cockpit.
I played Davian, and I like them.
Of course you did.
Blue, white, and gold, right? Or is that Steiner?
Depends on the unit.
Orange, red, and gold, or orange, or yellow, orange, red. That's Davian.
So who's blue, white, and gold?
Blue, white, blue and silver is Steiner. Black and red is Kurita.
Probably Steiner than what I was thinking of for the look. I would make my own noble house, and they would have blue, white, and gold as their colors.
Ooh.
And you can do that.
And they'd be
called, play the Terran hegemony.
They'd be called the Brycodes, and they would be really, really pedantic and also super appreciative at the same time, which is confusing.
Did they speak English?
Barely.
Apparently, blue, white, and gold is the Steiner Royal Guard. That ruined everything for me now. That's the problem. There's no room in that universe. It's fucking jam full of shit.
No, but there's plenty of room.
Yeah.
There's like you could, because you're like, oh, well, which one is this color? All of them. I guarantee you're like, well, which one's blue, white, and gold? I guarantee you I can find a unit in every single faction that is blue, white, and gold.
Yeah, but that started after 3050.
I mean, fair.
Well, started with the 3050 era, I should say.
Right, and typically, like with Kurita, people will do red paint schemes, and Lao they'll do green paint.
See, that's a mistake. No, Lao is bronze and tan.
Hey, look who just got himself uninvited from my Palladium game on Alternating.
So, but again, if you want to make a minor noble house, if you want to make a mercenary unit, like I'm making my own mercenary unit.
You're making your pants wearing mechs, which is so off-putting. You have no idea.
But they still look good. I'm so happy with them.
They look weird.
I like them.
Easily recognizable unit which instills fear into the enemy.
Exactly.
Or laughter.
Or laughter. Hey, if they're laughing so hard, you can shoot them.
Yeah, maybe they're laughing because they're scared. I
Don't
don't know.
shoot the pants off them. Right in the pogies.
Yeah, that's
So
one of the things that's
where
actually
can
really
you-
cool.
So in the, I let you guys talk for an hour. I get to do some talking now. Where in the inner sphere can I put a minor noble house? Where on that map can I fit them in?
Anywhere.
No, you can't because it's all
Periphery.
covered by giant color blotches. So is there
No,
like a
noble
place that's
houses
like-
are subservient to another house. Like
Yeah,
you,
no,
like it is a pure monarchy. There are
Yeah, I
5
get
ruling
that.
kingdoms, and that is unless you go to the periphery. There are 5 ruling kingdoms, and that is
thank
it.
you. The periphery. What's
Yeah.
the periphery about, please?
They're bandit
Lots of
kings. You don't
little-
want to be. Well, I mean, you can be
Well-
one of those, but nobody likes you.
Well, are they bandit kings because they're bandit vicious people, or are they bandit kings because they've been sort of exiled by the inner
Self-imposed exile to be douche nozzles.
Nonconformists.
Yes.
Think of not necessarily even
I don't
non-
want to play by your rules. I'm going out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like think about it like any kind of colonial expansionism. The old world is going to still be more developed, have the higher technology.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to be like, nope, we're going to go over here, and so the periphery is typically lower technology because they're newer colonies, they're newer societies, usually poorer societies.
Yes.
But if you want to carve out, 4 planets, and it's like, oh, this is the ancestral home of my people, you can do that.
So there's a great interest for me in the idea of saying, okay, here's a section of space that are a bunch of minor noble houses, like the Landsrad is the big thing, and these are a little coalition of minor houses that all sort of inhabit a rough area of space, have a treaty with each other, and are actually potentially able to punch above their weight a little bit when it comes to being requested to aid in warfare, because they got some shit. And it's like, you know what, we got to go fight Liao. Hey, we're Steiner. We'd like to hire you guys to come join us in this fight because, the extra numbers will be good on this. And Liao's like, fuck that noise. Hey, here's more money to stay the fuck out of this. You know what I mean? So like that would be interesting to me. That would be very interesting to me. See, when
In
you
the
say it like
30-25
that,
era, though.
nerd, it feels dismissive. Just so you know, that makes me feel dismissed.
No, but Bear, I
Sorry,
think, and
Junior.
so somebody who knows the lore maybe even better than me, because I stopped around 30-25, might know better. But if you go south, that's so called south, but below House Liao,
Right.
you've got, at that point, the Magistracy of Canopus and the Taurian Concordat are much smaller and much weaker. Taurian Concordat has always been a thorn in Davian's side, but the Magistracy only has, and there's a third one in there, and I forget the name of it right now. But there are actually some unaligned planets down there.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Stop. Hang on. We're going to talk about this. There
And
we
there's
go.
a bunch
Yeah,
of
I
stuff
can't.
in the northwest.
It's not big enough
Taurians
that I
punch
can
Davians.
zoom into all these stupid planets or anything like that. But here, we've got
Yeah.
the map of,
Uh-huh.
of the galaxy, right? This is
There
the
you go.
known galaxy.
What year is that?
I asked for
That looks like
30-25.
3060 or something. Yeah.
My asked
No.
for 30-25.
Hasselhug in the middle.
No, that's
Sorry.
Starleague era, because there's still unless that's the chaos.
No, that looks like Republic of the Sphere, dude, because Rasselhog didn't exist then.
Doesn't
You're
much
annoying
matter. You
me.
can say whatever it is.
I'm trying to find 30-25. I
Um,
can't find anything that's specifically 30-25.
It's a 5-color map.
Well, how about this? Is this 30-20? You know what? Let's do it this way. Hang on. I got an idea. Share screen. Map of the inner sphere. Share. Okay. So this is what we're dealing with, all these stupid maps. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell me which one looks like the right one that I
Third
want.
one in
The
the
one-
center.
This one?
Yeah.
Top center, yeah.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
a
the
good one.
30-25 map?
Like,
Yes.
yeah. Classic Battletech, yeah.
Hang on. All right. It's
Doesn't
fun.
include the periphery, but
What's the periphery?
That's what we were
Outside of
talking
that
about.
bubble.
Okay, thank you, Brian. That's what you were talking about. I'm asking a direct question, student,
Oh,
which is what
Those
is
little-
the periphery?
those
Oh,
little
I kinda
outside
found one
kingdoms.
here. It's too low resolution. Never mind.
Okay, here.
Well, that's cool because no, that little tiny stupid outline map actually shows the periphery.
This is the periphery here.
Yeah. So if you look at the outline map, see those little bumps outside the main circle? Like, just look at the dumb map in the lower left.
This thing here.
Yeah. If you go to the bottom of that, you see those little, like that one that's floating out in the middle of nowhere. Like the one you're just hovering over. Those are the periphery kingdoms. If you go to the north side of it, you'll have the bandit kingdoms. Those are the bandit. Yes, right there, the bandit kingdoms.
And this guy.
Cicernus Federation, if I remember correctly.
This guy.
I don't know. I don't.
This
off the top of my head.
guy.
That's Magistry of Canopus. I can't say it.
Yeah, and the
Taurian Concordat.
This is the periphery.
Well, those are all the periphery.
Basically,
so you could have people in here all over the place then.
Periphery just means the outside of the center.
Yeah. The periphery
I know what the word periphery means, but I'm just meaning
that's where they put all of the periphery kingdoms is outside the center circle.
All right. Think about it this way, Bear. You've got the 5 main factions: Steiner, Karita, Davian, Merrick, and Lao. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anything beyond their borders, okay, so outside of that circle is periphery. Okay. So anytime anybody talks about the periphery, it can be anywhere in that circle or outside of that circle.
Max, I had this map. You're a jerk.
So this one, these are the bandit kingdoms up here.
Mm-hmm.
The Outworlds Alliance, nobody cares about. They're just farmers.
There you go.
Taurian Concordat, Magistracy of Canopus. What is it? Oh, the Tortuga. Tortuga Dominions. I keep forgetting about them. Marian Hegemony, Lothian League. Now, if you're talking about like an alliance, Lothian League might be good for you, but they're a bunch of jerk offs.
No, I want to make my own new thing.
Oh, okay. Well, then
I want to stick my own dick of cannon into their big, soft, mushy map.
If you're doing a homebrew, then I would suggest anywhere. Anywhere is fine.
So, real quick, Bear.
Yeah.
The BattleTech game that I've been streaming online periodically.
Hairbrain Schemes.
Yes, from Hairbrain Schemes.
Oregon Federation or something like that.
Yeah, it's like the Oregon Federation, which that gap between the Marian hegemony and just like, so you go down to the left.
Yeah, that gap. Yeah, I see the gap.
Yeah,
like
they literally they're like, hey, this is this faction that has been here forever, and just stuck it right there. It had never been seen in canon before, but
now it's canon.
Yeah, and now it's canon, and they're just like, oh yeah, it was right here the whole time. So
where did this come from?
The BattleTech video game. The one that I've been streaming, but then they also made it canon, so they printed books and whatnot.
Another kind of weird option is House Merrick is very loosely aligned as it is. You could probably, as long as you weren't doing Andorian or Regula, you could probably find planets in there like, we side with them this week, we side with them next week, and we'll side with the big purple when we need to.
Yeah, not a lot of control in that quarter.
Yeah, if you look at a modern map of BattleTech, the House Merrick, so the purple one, is literally fractured, and there is dead spots in between it. So you want to make something up and just stick it right there. Oh yeah, it's former Free Worlds League.
3145 is the best map ever because it's got the Capellans put a big penis into House Davia.
Not inaccurate.
Y'all are strange.
So, but that is one of the things that I always like about BattleTech is just there are those story potentials. I've talked about it before. The thing that hooks me in the game is what is the story? What's going on? And while for BattleTech, I typically just play, I want those big stompy robots, throw them on a map and go. I don't care. I'm not going to run a campaign. I still want to know. I still want to see how these different factions are interacting with each other. The original novels that they did in the 90s and early 2000s, it was just fun because every single time a novel came out, even if it wasn't that good, I don't care. I had fun with them. But it just kept that storyline advancing and moving forward. And I've literally not seen another role-playing or wargaming property do that since.
What's that? James, hold that up again.
Great Death Legion.
I think I've heard this name before. Hang on.
Oh, I hope so.
That's the original novel series or the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Also, what ruined BattleTech with the third book. But hey, what's interesting about the novels though is there are two two strict types of novels in the Battletech universe. There's the overarching politics ones, like the ones written by Stackpole. Those are the ones, honestly, I like the most because I don't care about individual units. But then there are the other ones that are like individual people and personnel, and kind of like what Brian was saying, kind of show how you're a cog in the machine, but you also can become somebody of importance, like what you're talking about. So the machine still's moving on around you, but you still have your place in that universe. Again, I prefer the big overlays, but
so who's the Draconis Combine again?
Space Bushido.
Space Japan.
Yeah.
Which that's Kurita, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Federated Sons is Steiner.
No, Davian.
No, Davian. What's Capellan?
Capellan Confederation is House Liao.
Liao. Davian.
Federated Sons.
Federated Sons.
Sorry, Steiner.
Lyran Commonwealth.
Lyran Commonwealth. Thank you.
And if you want, you can always do the Federated Commonwealth, which is Steiner plus Davian.
It's stupid, and I never liked that idea.
You know, it actually would have been more interesting if they had kept the Concord of Capitaine, which was, you know, the other three. So it was like a 1 versus 1, almost had like, you know, us versus them, like the actual Soviet America alliance type thing that they were trying to, or Soviet Union versus the West. But they never followed through with the Concord of Capitaine. They just made the good guys win.
Hey, chat, is this what I sound like when I talk about Star Trek?
Yes.
If it is, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because right now my brain hurts.
When I said Battletech, a game of armored combat, this is what I meant. And it's the one with the white book in it, right?
Oh, I didn't realize they.
Wow, look at them all firing off. Yes.
Oh, real quick,
enough of it up there.
I do want to point out what Nerdy Ogre said. Adventure Conqueror King Battletech Edition.
Yeah. Why not?
So,
make your homebrew game.
Creating your own homebrew periphery state, have at her.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could be a fun campaign, right? The idea of you have this little house on the periphery.
Yeah. Oh my!
Look at this, Bear's getting it.
Well, I'm hearing the Little House on the Prairie theme song going on in my head right now.
Brian always ruins everything with the over enthusiasm.
All Steam I say my.
Oh.
No. The new rule is this: before you want to say something, type it to Cody. If Cody goes, don't say it. Hang on. I got to explain what rhetorical means to Levi.
You're kidding me. It's like the Department of Redundancy department.
Oh my God, no! Now he's talking about clans. Jesus Christ!
No.
Okay, so as I was trying to say before, Brian ruined everything. I could see myself being interested in a campaign where you have this small little house out on the periphery that's trying to become a bigger player, right? And slowly building up resources, building up planets, you know, gobbling up the systems around them as they go, you know, maybe taking over other groups in the periphery and subsuming them into their house and trying to grow to be the 6th big player in the galaxy.
Sure.
Clearly, they're going to have a lot of pushback from the other 5, but the one thing you can always rely on is that the other 5 hate each other selves so much that they're not even going to waste time fucking with you until you're suddenly a threat of value. And then at that point, you might be able to sway other people to join fights against the asshole who comes to pick the fight with you, right? Like, oh, the Capellans are here. Hey, I don't know, Kurita and Steiner, the Capellans are fucking with me. Here's this, and this. What do you say? You want to start a little war with them? You know, like I could see that being interesting. I could see that being fascinating. I could see that being fun. I could even see myself painting some goddamn mechs that way and going, I got my own colors. I got my own livery. Ah, ha, 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 ha. But it sounds like that's outside the purview of the official game. The official game is play one of the houses or a minor fucking mercenary company and just fight fights.
There's a Succession Wars game. There's all, if you want to play house versus house, Succession Wars was the first attempt at that.
How is
you're
that?
actually playing Kurita.
You have to play in Kurita?
No, you play as Kurita, or you play as... That's it.
The simplified version is it's Battletech Risk.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not the best game ever developed. I'll tell you that. But if that's your we actually used this map as a play-by-mail game in high school. So we actually did a play-by-mail game instead of this.
Because it's a lot like diplomacy or something like that, with the sectors and so on that you're trying to control with different resources. And
somebody told me this book is worth a lot of money because mine's in good condition.
It is nice. That must be newish.
Oh, this is
that's the very
original,
very first book of fiction.
I stopped collecting Battletech stuff in the mid-90s.
Yeah, this is 1988.
So I don't have anything newer than mid-90s for Battletech.
That's good. Oh, I remember I had somebody offer me over $400 for my jump ship dropship book, and I didn't take it because it wasn't. This is before PDFs were everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh man, now with PDFs everywhere, I wish I would have sold it and then just printed out a PDF.
Yeah. I've got probably 2 cubic feet of Battletech pre-1995 there. But anyway, and it's all in PDF now. So
you can do what you want. I mean, I guess, Bear, my question is, what do you mean by part of the official? I mean, it's not going to be put in a novel or anything, but ultimately everybody's game can be what you want it to be. Yeah. I've seen people homebrew all types of stuff. And by homebrew, I mean, it's the canon universe at whatever year you start. But like one of our favorite things to do is to play the game, say that the clans never invaded. The Fourth Succession War unfortunately happened, those assholes. But we'd go from there. We would just play with that. And our timeline became different than what the real canon timeline was because, look, they're at 3145 now. So if you're going to do 3025, you got 120 years to catch up on of canon. So ignore it.
Yep.
The clan was
3050.
3050. Yeah.
Well, it was the descendants of Kerensky. Yes.
Yeah.
Descendants of Kerensky. Okay.
Well, descendants of Kerensky and those that followed him out of the inner sphere.
That portion of the army. Yeah.
And Kerensky was a mercenary. He was one government. What was he?
He was the general of the Star, the 5-star, 20-star general of the Star League. And after he saw what was about to happen to the Inner Sphere, he took 80% of the Inner Sphere army with him and said, "Asta, we're out."
Basically, the head of the Inner Sphere had gotten assassinated, and so he led the forces of the Star League to Earth, took down the guy that had led the coup against the
Camerons, so House Cameron over there.
And then because the Cameron basically think like Russian Revolution. And so the Romanovs are all dead. Okay, well, who's going to take over for the Romanovs? And
he saw all the houses bickering over it and going to war and changing their militaries. And he said, you know what, I'm out. Because he didn't want to be anybody's puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then you come back to 3025-ish. And Wolf's Dragoons shows up.
Yeah, it was like 3005. They start entering, and people are like, where are they getting this weird tech from? It's kind of funny how they foreshadowed that. But yeah, where are they getting? Why are their mechs always getting refit after these fights? This is so odd, you know.
So they were the wrecking for the clans coming back.
Yep.
Hey, Cody, you haven't said anything for a while.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know anything other than this lore dump that they're throwing in my face. I'm going to start explaining the fucking 23rd century versus the 24th century in Star Trek at this point because I'm like, what the fuck?
So,
I'm interested.
So not lore.
No. I want to talk to Cody right now. Jesus Christ, you three. I get it. You guys are super Battletech nerds. I get it. I'm with you.
Cody.
You're Cody because Cody's the voice of reason out of this quartet.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you don't have to know all the lore to play Battletech.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just there if you want it, and you can take it as far as you want. Of course, once you get into Battletech, like as you can tell, you get super nerdy about it. And I think it's just because there is so much to it. You're just like, holy shit, there's a lot here, and like you start wanting to know a little bit more. But you don't have to. Like it doesn't affect your game at all. Like you can just play Battletech and not know anything about the lore, and it's fine, or know just a little bit about it. Somebody was asking. There are lore books.
It's like just this is the Battletech Universe primer.
They do have a primer. I don't know if they
They also have one book for each house.
Yeah.
printed
Yeah.
back early. I have 2 or 3 of them.
So Brian,
That's the
you have the
problem.
new.
Get into the weeds, and I don't want to get into the weeds. I just want a general overview that I can read and sort of go, okay, this is neat.
The Succession Wars.
Brian,
That's
you have the
15
new starter box, right?
Yes.
Did it come with a primer in there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
How many
See,
pages?
like
I
all
think
the,
you can even download it for free.
Yeah, and I think it's 3025 era, or it used to be. I don't know about the newest one. I haven't looked at the newest starter box, but it has always been 3025.
Nerd just posted something, but I don't know what that acronym is.
A game of armored combat.
Yeah.
They've always come with a primer, and it's really good.
That's the one that I said where it's like, okay, I don't have it in this box. I must have moved it to a different box.
You know, it's funny. I seem to recall telling the Aussie if he wants me to consider Cipher System, there was a very simple solution, which is send me a copy of the book. But since he's not doing that, apparently he's talking to the wind. It has multiple errors. Okay.
So, right, that's the thing is that exactly there are multiple eras. It's all right. I don't have it on any of the stuff that's right next to me. But basically, like they have like these little icons for like if it, like a little like burned out factory for the Succession Wars, or a clan star for the clan invasion era. Yeah, no, it's a Mad Cat. Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna
Sarna.net.
So I don't like Sarna.net is a wiki. So it's just random stuff. But if you want just a generic intro, the little 16-page intro is good. I haven't ever seen here is the history of the Star League from this date to this date kind of book. But like
it's called the Star League.
Yeah.
Well, I meant Star League or history of the Inner Sphere. That's what I meant. But what I would actually recommend, Bear, is if you like pick a house that you like, and one of those house books presents everything from that house's perspective.
I'm a big picture guy, dude. I've always been. I need a top-down overview.
Whoops, this way.
The spider? What the fuck?
Spider and the Wolf.
Was
Comic
that?
book.
Oh God, no! I don't want a comic book. All right. So, quick question for the
Bear
panel.
doesn't like
so, why
comic
should
books.
we? Comics are for nerds. So, question for the panel. So, why should we choose to play BattleTech as Big Stompy Robot battle over, say, Rifts?
Because one's a war game and one is a role-playing game.
There we go.
So if you want to play I mean, in my opinion, still the best war game for mech combat is BattleTech.
This is all you need.
I've seen the Tex talks. Tex is an awesome guy. He's been on the show. Love Tex a million times over. Fucking King Eric gets it. For Americans, I think it's Cliff's Notes is what you guys call them down there. Up here, we call it Coles.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
I will look, Bear, and I will see if I can find you something.
This book has what you want.
That book
in the sidebars.
In the sidebars, yep.
It has the history of Dispossessed and soldiers of the Succession Wars, the different houses, all of that stuff explained.
In just one sidebar.
The very first book to be printed.
Yeah, it's expensive as fuck, though.
It's
Well, it's $12 is the one that I found.
That's Great Britain.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So that converts to like $30 Canadian.
Oh wow.
Plus shipping.
Plus shipping across the ocean.
Actually, you know what the best concise history I mentioned the book earlier. I completely forgot about this. The Dropships and Jump Ships book has, to me, what was the best concise history of the Inner Sphere or of BattleTech up to that time that I'd ever read. It had everything in it. Yes, that book right there has, I don't remember how many pages it was, but it is from the Kearney Fushida Drive all the way up to 3025 era in about as concise format as you can get.
Yeah, it's the progression of history because of this particular technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll read it and go, oh my gods, I need to play Stompy Robots with Brian.
Sure, you want to
Brian's the only one I figure out of the lottie that wouldn't be a complete dick about it. I know Liao would. Oh fuck! I know Max Liao would be like, well, you got to learn the rules, so learn the hard way because that's what the game's about. Because
What do you mean learn the hard way?
I'm gonna kick the shit out of you with my superior tactical knowledge.
I don't do that.
Oh, take the joke, bitch.
No,
Jeez.
I will not. No, because I'm being accused of something that's not true.
Call it fair play for all the shit you've gotten away with.
Look,
Max
Max plays 8 hex Battletech.
8 hex? What?
Instead of D, I was trying to be funny.
Oh my god, Brian. Brian.
I play 4D Battletech. That's right.
Get that bone out of your teeth, boys.
What the hell are you talking about?
Don't worry about it, James.
Yes, we'll answer.
No.
Oh no.
Not talking about it on stream.
Be happy in your ignorant bliss.
I'm always the last one to figure shit out. I mean, you guys were blowing each other up earlier. Not each other, but you were all blowing up individually on your own streams and whatnot for the last week. I'm going, what the fuck happened?
Leave it
and
there.
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still not there.
Womble happened, but that's beside
I heard that phrase on one stream this afternoon, yeah. And I was watching Max review a video that was interesting by this white-haired dude.
Aliens Unlimited thing?
The 4D.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah. Anyway, we're not going to
we were commenting on him.
James, teeth out of the steak. We'll eat that later. We're not eating it now.
All right.
I know how your brain works. You've explained this to me in great detail, but I need you to step away right now and accept lack of knowledge for the present. Otherwise, we wind up in this fucking cesspool again, and I'm trying to claw my way out of it.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Bear, one of the issues with Battletech and like this conversation here is Battletech is so simplistic we can describe it in 5 minutes. The flip side of that is it's also so deep we could have a 24-hour live stream and barely cover 10% of it. It's hard to have a middle ground of that.
That's why this video failed for me, because I started watching them and I was just like, Jesus Christ, this just goes on and on and on. Like there was like in part 1, part 2, then there's this video, and then I'm like, I can't watch all this shit and remember it.
2 hours. You see,
we started we didn't have all this shit. We had just that little book that he showed. And I know Nerd says it's better now 35 years later, and you're probably right. But we just started with that book that James showed with the little sidebars. And then as time went on, it expanded. That's all you need. That's really all you need.
Yeah, no, I've got that. Seraphis, save your money. Don't send me shit, dude. Please. Thank you. I have the PDF. Maybe someday I'll read it.
And I was wrong. This was printed in 85.
He did not, in fact, read the PDF. Neither here nor there.
Modern is never better. Yeah.
Modern is never better.
Sometimes the field message pad is the right answer. Sorry, it's an army thing.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't need a computer. Sometimes writing down in a little booklet with, coils on the top is the right answer.
You should have seen the people that I work with right now when I brought them next door to go all grab a green monster. Military book that just looks green. And they're like, right? Like, yes.
Why would you want your book to blend into the scenery? You might lose it.
Well,
Oh, that's why
leave it for the enemy.
A big lighter to the field. When you drop that sucker, you're not finding a green one.
All right. For anyone who's been watching, okay, there we go. No, that just went to mine, so I should have Bear put this.
Yeah. Send it to me.
Okay, no, so that is the BattleTech Universe primer. It's 48 pages, but they throw in lots of art too, so that it's not just like solid.
It's free. That's a good price,
right? And it's free. So, but it's just a nice little hey.
Okay. What are you laughing about?
Levi, I've been working for DoD for over 30 years, and the books have never changed.
Yeah.
I gotta meet less military people. Y'all just talk to each other in this language that makes me fear you. Anyway, okay, so I'll read that.
So maybe the one that Brian is proposing, the new version of this old thing, is the best.
If I see the word plan in it, I'm deleting it.
If you see what?
If I see the word clan in it, I'm deleting it.
No, the one that I sent you, it will have the clans because again, that's it's Bear.
Optional.
No, it is a modern booklet, and the clans have been in the game for 35 years, so it's going to address them.
Don't like that.
I know you, right?
Just ignore that shit.
Right. Ignore the
No.
timeline post that date.
You remember that part
First
earlier where I
time
said I know how James's brain works, so therefore I knew how to talk to James to get him to back off of a subject because I understood how his brain works. You two really need to learn how my brain works. Ignoring shit, not a power I connect with. Don't have it.
And I get that, but for right now, I'm just trying to at least find you some.
Oh no,
hey,
James found it, and I'll go find the PDF of it somewhere for free. Yar, and I'll read that. And then maybe I'll look for that dropships book that Max was talking about, because that sounds like it might be right up my alley as well. And I have some mega fucking torrents on part.
I'm jealous of James' version of that book. It's in much better condition than mine. His probably could hold like $650.
It's still shiny.
Yeah. I abused my book. I love that book. That's one of my favorite Battletech books ever written.
I got it, James. I like when Max gets jealous. Go ahead, James. Show us that again, please.
No, I am, because that is a really, yes. If I showed you mine's all taped up.
Oops,
That's awesome, dude.
A little bit of edge wear. That's totally doable.
Wow, doable, Brian? Phrasing. Run, James. Brian wants to say.
Awkward phrasing.
Hey, Bear, you ever been in a Jeffries tube? No.
Yes.
I don't think you'd want to get into a Jeffries tube with my Star Trek character.
Command post to your right.
What did he say?
He says, just remember.
With
Yep,
two
go ahead.
big robots blowing the crap out of each other. You need no more than that. No, I need more than that. That's what I need to understand the universe. I am a big picture kind of person. I need the overview. And then I can drill in on the stuff that catches my eye and then learn from there. Right.
I would say, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in the middle here.
You haven't talked much. You can tell me to shut the fuck up, and I'll be like, okay, Cody.
So there's a 16-page primer that I just downloaded, and it's only $30.25, and it just gives a really, really general overview of every house, Comstar, the Star League. It's very, very basic, but from there, you can go to sarna.net, and if something catches your eye, then you can look stuff up. You're like, oh, I like that. Let me learn more about House Liao. Then you can start getting into the weeds about stuff. That's how I would approach it. Start really, really basic, simple, and then go into the stuff you want to know more about if you want to know more about it.
Walter MC's testing your devotion to getting me into this by suggesting you do work. Am I going to cosplay? Could you please buy a and eat them raw? Jesus Christ, I don't cosplay.
Yeah, if you're going to play House...
Why do you think I was willing to take their fucking challenge on the Star Trek costumes? Because I know it's never going to happen. Never.
We're close.
One away, buddy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Good luck.
Yeah,
hey,
no, but
money talks.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he did put in that little caveat, oh, and Sean has to do the spots too.
Hey, okay, so how many of us are there? How many of us are there? There's 5.
So there's like 4 of you wearing costumes the last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we each pitch in like $10 and be like, all right, look, dude, here's $40, $50, whatever. Like, do this one time.
Just wear the shirt.
Get your damn costume and just put the trill spots on. Come on, buddy. Do it for the team. Just one time.
I'll do it if it's movie era costume.
Monster Maroons are so sweet.
They're awesome. I wish we were playing that.
They're the best uniform, except for those pants with those fucking flare tucked in. Anyway, sorry, we're talking about Battletech tonight.
We're talking.
Literally, I watched viewers go boom, boom, boom as soon as we started talking about Star Trek, and that awesome.
Jockey shorts and cooling vests. That's all you need in Battletech. Yes.
You guys are in a cult, right? Is that what this is?
No. So again, going back to Lost Tech, the and the heat that it gets so hot in the Met cockpit that basically all the mech warriors got to the point where they would just wear, their underwear,
skivvies,
and a cooling vest, because otherwise it was just that hot.
Yeah.
So,
and they'd have punk rock hairstyles so that the neuro helmet pads could actually talk to their brain better. So you have mohawks and
there's some fun 80s tech in there.
Except for the women. The women always had the nice big 80s hair, and somehow that was good enough.
That's true.
Someone once suggested that. They said, "What about Star Trek with mechs?" And I was like, "Go fuck yourself." Like, that was my immediate answer. Was like, I don't ever want to see the Enterprise turn into a fucking SDF, like, ever. God.
If you're talking Star Trek universe, I 100% agree. But if you're just talking conceptually, it'd be cool to have this big starship space exploration type game, but having things like mechs and Cyclone Riders and so forth also involved in it. I would like to see, and I know people have done it, but I just haven't been part of it. I'd like to see a Star Trek game where people are playing the Marines.
There are no Marines in Star Trek. Thank you.
Aren't there?
There should be.
There were in the FASA book.
In Star Trek. FASA is not canon. And trying to bring in Marines was one of the reasons they lost the license, because they were militarizing Star Trek, and that was the problem.
Yeah, Roddenberry militarized.
Starfleet Battles Universe. Go play the Starfleet Battles Universe. Play Prime Directive. Play all that good shit. You bought Prime Directive.
I did.
Didn't you buy it, Max? Who bought the copy of Prime Directive?
I did.
Was it you? I thought, Max, I thought you bought the book Prime Directive, the role-playing game. From
yeah, I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
Like, I'm a fucking asshole all of a sudden.
I forgot the name of it. I thought you were talking board games. I played Federation Empire. That's the only one.
Doesn't matter, Seraphis. It does not matter. There are no Marines in. Why are we getting off on Star Trek? What?
No idea.
Because it's your time to be a nerd. We nerded out on you. Now you get to be.
No. This is about battle.
Okay, so Bear, I'm gonna
Marines in battle.
Yes, many.
How did they survive against 60-foot tall giant multi-ton robots?
You wrap them
Very
satchel charges.
I know they have flamers, right? They run up and try and overload their heat and shit like that.
Satchel charges, manpack PPCs, also sheer numbers. Because remember, there aren't until 3050. There aren't supposed to be a lot of battle mechs on the field. It's still mostly conventional.
Can't believe I'm about to do this. Operations is engineering, security, and bridge systems like communications. In the original and later, it's basically just Geordi and fucking Worf, okay, and Data. That's operations. It is not the Marines, guys.
All right, Bear.
And I have to do this too because it's driving me up the wall. Monster Maroons, not Munster Maroons, sir. Anyway, okay, I'm back.
Monster Maroons?
The nickname for the fucking movie era uniforms that Kirk, Spock, and McCoy wore from Star Trek 2 to Star Trek 6 are called the Monster Maroons. It was the offline, like the costume department's nickname for them.
Got it. Okay. I didn't know it was Monster Maroons. Anyways, okay.
And apparently someone's supposed to tell me why I want to be fucking Steiner now.
I absolutely could do that. That's so. As I just typed in, I played Steiner in a play-by-mail game. That Steiner is great. If you want role-playing, Steiner is where you go, and here's why: because it's all about the social generals. They have the most inept leadership, military leadership possible, but it is the house with the most money, so they can continue to just buy the Atlas Scoutlands.
They're German, aren't they?
Well, it's supposed to be, which makes incompetent leadership a little bit questionable.
Right. Well, it's social generals. They're actually Polish. If you dig into the history, at least they used to be. It's a German name, but Polish themes for whatever reason. Okay. So maybe that whole area. But anyway, there's a lot of good role-playing social interaction there because there's a lot of social politicking for Steiner. A lot of wheeling and dealing and money and whatnot. Where the Merrick should just be flat-out business, the Steiners are a little bit more of the upper echelon, and make sure you have the gaudiest uniform at all possible. Otherwise, you're just not as cool as the guy next to you.
So, Bear, I want to ask you a question.
Sure. Okay.
Besides the fact that you have 4 clearly, massive Battletech nerds on this
rabid
screen.
Giant Battletech nerds.
Okay.
Yes.
And the fact that we have all become, I like to think, good friends, at least good internet friends. Okay.
Well, it's a prerogative.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I'm taking it. Accept it. Anyways,
Sum up.
outside of but I want you to eliminate that. I want you to eliminate us.
Eliminate
from the
friends.
equation.
Wait, hang on.
Yes.
Wait, hang on. Mind wipe.
There's-
Okay. Who are you people? I've never
Yes.
seen you before. Where am I?
Why is it that
Mother?
what is it about Battletech that interests you that you're willing to take a 2-hour live stream and just let us info dump on you like this? There's got to be some nugget of like,
No, he did
maybe
this just so
there's
we'd shut
something
up
to this.
about it.
That's probably true too. But you know what? Let me dream.
I let you talk on a live stream. Leave me alone now.
So you guys think I'm that fucking Machiavellian, do you? Wow. You credit me with far more intelligence than I actually have. I played Battletech in the late 80s, and it was fun. It was a good time. And then the universe exploded into this fucking nonsense of just overwhelming lore, and kept moving the timeline up by decades, and I just lost interest really quickly. The clans are really, 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 I fucking hate the clans as a concept. It's just so like, and here's our better idea. Oh, fuck off. Like, you had a great idea going. Why'd you need to do that shit? But Brian, every single fucking person that I talk to on these panel shows has a raging cock hard on for Battletech. So I'm trying to understand what the fuck
think it
I'm
showed?
missing. What am I not seeing that you are all seeing? I respect you guys. You're my friends. I think highly of all of you. Therefore, if you're all into something and I'm not, what am I missing? What is the thing that
That's easy.
seeing?
That's easy. It's nostalgia. Name one of us that hasn't been doing this since the 80s. Really? I thought you said that you'd been
90, 91.
well, okay, that's pretty dang close still, yeah. But I mean, none of
85,
us have just jumped into the hobby like 5 years ago.
No.
So it's when you got that much invested in it, probably like similar to you in Star Trek and people with D&D and so forth. Why do you think people are so passionate? Do you think a 5e player is that passionate about D&D? No, it's all the OSR, it's all the grognards that are that passionate about D&D. I think it's the same thing for Battletech players. It's the people who've been doing it for a long time, or around people who've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, there's such a flood.
It's an exception to every rule.
No. There's always going to be new players, but there's been such a flood of games, like board games, role playing, whatever, over the last, say, 5 to 10 years. Like literally, like over 1,000, new board games in a year, were released. I think in like 2020 or something, maybe 2019. But my member or have even seen most of those. But you go back to the 90s, we didn't have so many games coming out, so like getting a new Battletech book, we knew that was going to be on the horizon, just like another D&D book, things like that. And so there, or the new novels, the novels were a big part of it for me, because complain all you want about the clans, but like if you ever want to get into just reading Battletech novels, like if you want to eliminate the clans or any clan level technology, you have all of about 6 books.
Oh, come on.
Sword and Dagger, the Grey Death trilogy, the Warrior trilogy, and then that pretty much ends it.
Yeah. Warrior Post Coop.
Well, okay, technically, Heir to the Dragon also, because that's 3039.
Yeah, right. But again, about 6 to 8 books is really all you get before here's the clans.
Yeah.
So it is. I'm going to agree with Max that there is a lot of nostalgia there, but but again, it can be as fun as you want it to be. I realize we say that about all of the games, but like, especially as I've gotten to know you, if you want to take here's my periphery house, and they control 3 planets, but they're tired of just controlling 3 planets, and they're going to start moving. And they're not going to be Steiner, but on the periphery, they're going to make a name for themselves.
Mhm.
I can absolutely see you running that game and knowing, and knowing the politics and how they all interact with each other. I can see you doing that, and there are so many hooks that you can pull off of. No,
the not named, because they have the not named clan, the not named society.
There we go.
Okay.
The Cockwombas.
Cody wanted to jump in and say something, so let's see what Cody has to say since you're now meandering in your expressions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
Here's why I love BattleTech. Yeah, I love the history. I love the lore. I love all that stuff. But before I knew anything about that, somebody mentioned it. It was a game about big stompy robots, and I love giant robots. And also, I still think it's the best game of big stompy robots. There's not a lot of options out there. And in my opinion, I still think it's the best. I've played Heavy Gear. I played Cav. They didn't do it for me. They didn't have the same. I didn't like the rules. I didn't like the lore. I didn't like anything about it. But BattleTech, I love. The big draw for me, and I think for Bear too, what would be a big draw for him is it's a great game when you just want to hang out with your friends. You can drop down a hex map, drop down some mechs, drink a couple beers, and have a good time.
And still remember the rules.
And still remember the rules. Like I can step away from BattleTech for a long time and be like, okay, how do you play this? And look at the chart. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. Like I remember right away. It all starts coming back. So I think that would be a good draw for you, right? You could have your gaming group over and say, y'all don't feel like getting into like an intense role-playing session. It's like, let's just hang out. I'll throw down a couple hex mats. Let's play some BattleTech.
Beer and pretzels.
And,
Carry
yeah.
on.
I mean, you can play BattleTech that way, and I think that's a big draw. And also, you don't need a lot of shit, right?
No.
That's a big draw to me. Like I can go over to my buddy's house. He's like, "Hey, you want to come over and game this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's play some BattleTech." And I can take a couple lances of mechs, print off some record sheets, and bust out. Bring a 6-pack of beer, of course, and we're good to go. Like
No, they're alcoholics. All right, Max Liao, wrap it up. What's your pitch? Give me your final pitch. Cody just gave me his. What's your final pitch?
Oh, I can't top that. I really can't. Cody is spot on. I'll just repeat again, though, that the rules are simplistic but meaningful. So they're not overly done. I liked Heavy Gear, but I agree that I think that BattleTech was a more fun game to just hang around with my friends and play. The lore, if you already said earlier in the stream that you don't like the novels, you thought that they were crap. So I'm not really. Lore isn't going to be a thing unless you're just going to read it like in the primers and so forth, like a history book, which but yeah, it is to me. That's why I have every single house book ever written, because I find those to be very interesting. Absolutely agree with you on that. So there's a lot of depth to it, but you take it to what Brian, I think, was trying to say is you take it to whatever level you want. That's really what it is. If you want some sort of mega universe campaign, you can do that, or start as a small
invasion.
Bring
in the aliens.
No,
have the Invid just run ramshackle through the.
That'd be awesome. There are aliens in BattleTech, except for nobody acknowledges them. If anybody remembers the bird people, and I'm going to get stabbed for saying that. But anyway, no. But that's what it is. It's a fun game to hang around, and if you end up diving into it, there is a black hole that you'll never get sucked out of, that you can have there, or you just play it for the giant stompy robots and have a great game.
Okay, James, your last pitch here.
Okay, 2 parts. The first one is there's so much lore out there, you can cherry pick some of that stuff to style your own game in the periphery as you like. The other bit is just my latest experience with the campaign was the first thing I did when they did their first mission was they had to get out of their mechs because they were exploring a facility, and they found a briefcase full of keys. And they had used the keys on the facility they were in, and they realized, oh, wait a minute, there's 24 of these. So there are 8 more facilities, all of which have maybe Star League stuff in them. So they had to then start an exploration mission of finding these places, getting access to them, and they're owned by other people. So, yeah.
And then we found the 7 lion mechs and joined forces together. And no? Oh, okay. I'm
5
teasing.
on
I'm
AMX,
teasing.
by the way.
Hey, 7 in my world. Shut the fuck up, Brian.
What they found was a Star League era colony creation kit.
Oh, neat. That actually sounds cool. I like that. That sounds cool. All right, Brian, you've already had your pitch, so you don't get another swing at the bat.
Love you, Bear.
Yeah. Double-edged sword. All right. Based on everything you chuckleheads have said to me tonight, I'm going to buy the $65 box set off of Amazon Canada. And I'm going to play it with my friends. My friend Mike loves Battletech. I mean, Christ, he has an entire lance he designed back in the day on his Mac. Like, he has literally like a fucking regiment sheet with all like little symbols and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, this is fucking code. He goes, no, this means this is support and this means. I'm like, okay, good for you. I'm going to read the stuff from the Dropships book, and I'll see if I can scare up the original rule book somewhere online. I know I can. And I'll read all the background and history and see if it fascinates me. And once all of that is done, on a future live stream, I will discuss this again. But, and this is the caveat, we do not talk Battletech again on this fucking show until that happens. Because
So who are your co-hosts going to be?
Fucking talking Battletech, I want to shoot myself in the fucking face. Now, I didn't ban 40K, and I didn't ban talking about painting, so you guys can still find ways to annoy the shit out of me, so we're all good there. By the way, for those of you who think this is control freak behavior, this is called comedy. Look it up.
Bear's going to put out applications for co-hosts for his 4-Color Cafe now.
It's going to be all new. Next week, all new co-hosts. It's going to be a potato and one of my cats with one of my secondary webcams.
Just get Sean to make some puppets for you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Cody.
A sock puppet. That has a
Hey, it's Brian.
Battletech sucks, and that'll be like his whole thing. Fuck Battletech. And I am going to check it out. I all that joking aside, talk about whatever the fuck you want. I am going to do this. I'm going to check it out and see if it's something that I enjoy and like anymore. And if I do, you can all take your fucking victory lap. And if I don't, I will absolutely rub it in your faces, because that's the kind of petty shit I am.
Give it a shot.
But I'm okay if you don't like Battletech.
Yeah.
Get that Dutch guy.
I really am.
Can't Bear just get that Dutch guy? Yeah, I'll get Victor to be my co-host and get fucking demonetized in a week. Really drunk Victor. Let me tell you something, fuck. And he'll just go off, and I'll be like, oh, Jesus Christ. Cody, Brian, come back. We're playing Battletech. We can't come back. As you guys start the new Wednesday night Battletech chat.
Dale, I'm not wimping out. I'm just being honest. It's fine. Like we talk about how nobody has to like everything that everyone else does.
I gotta give him credit for this one. That was actually pretty good.
Oh, that's just funny.
Once again, Mobius, you got banned for being a cunt. Okay, and if you can't see that you were a cunt with all the little comments you made about me, you're missing the fucking point. You got banned because you were talking shit about me. I don't let people talk shit about me, and I sure as fuck don't invite people who talk shit about me into my fucking world. Now, you're here because you're on someone else's channel, and that's fine. But if you want to pick this fucking fight with me, I will give you this fucking fight. Or take it and walk the fuck away with it, because I've had enough of your shit for one day.
Since it's on my stream
with you today.
Look, guys, since I'm actually co-streaming with him, normally I don't ban, I don't block, and I don't tell people what to say and what not to say, but please don't do that, because he's the host and I'm co-streaming his stream. So otherwise, other than that, I have to shut it off.
I eat your shit and it's thin skin. When I have enough of you, it's thin skin. Go fuck yourself. How about that for an answer, okay? Go fuck yourself. There's your answer. You don't exist in my mind. We're done. Back to this. So for me, I'm really, really, really happy to just give this a try, see what I think of it, and go from there. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank you, gentlemen. You've opened my mind to something, and I'm going to give it a try. Can't promise I'm going to like it, but I'm going to do my best. This, by the way, was because our guest had to reschedule for into February, so we had to throw something together at the last second, and this is what we did. Hope you guys enjoyed it, other than my getting upset with someone. Sorry, I have a temper, and sometimes I reach my fucking wit's end, and that's when my temper fires off. I do apologize for anybody that was offended by that. Cody, sell your stuff.
Hold on real quick. James.
Yeah.
No, because it's still
go.
conversation. We're not signing off yet. James, weren't you saying that you had run and liked the Time of War role playing?
Not exactly. I said it was their best attempt thus far.
Okay. So you played it. It's still not good. It's just
I
the
did
best.
Play
of
it.
the
No. It's not bad. But then there's that problem, which is the lack of role-playing opportunity unless you play a role-playing game and not mech game.
Got it.
It's very tricky.
Because I know you've got some stuff coming up, but down the road, I do think it would be fun if we all got together and maybe James runs us through Time of War and do a role-playing session in the Battletech universe. I would love that.
I want to play the Stompy Robot game first.
We'll do it all.
Okay, I'll just quit my job.
Well, there must be Stompy Robots, yes.
If you're gonna do it, you have to do it right. You start in outer space with the jump ship coming in. You play Aerotech with the drop ships in the
stop
airspace.
It, Max.
You
Stop
land
it,
on
Max. Anyhow, after Bear's played some Stompy Robots, I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun to look into that.
I don't know if you're old enough to remember this one.
No.
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand.
Oh,
okay.
All right, Cody.
Inventing fire.
Please, for the love of God, could you tell us what you got going on and show your channel, please?
Well, actually, Hal Steiner. No, I'm not going to. So, I'm GM Cody. I usually do a video every week about some gaming related thing. Usually, either a review. I don't get real topical. I try to keep things positive, and I just talk about stuff I love and try to keep it positive. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about topics unless it's I do talk about gaming topics, but I'm not like, oh, guess what happened at Wizards of the Coast? I don't talk about that shit. So if you're looking for that, my channel is not for you. But if you want to hear about some cool old games and hear me talk about, maybe some history of gaming and stuff like that, you'd probably enjoy it. Also, I do a live stream game every other Sunday and soon to be a live stream game every Sunday. And Bear's going to be in that game. Right now I'm running AD&D second edition. Yeah, I'm going to be running a game. I'm sorry. We're running y'all's game on Thursday. Sorry. So I'm running AD&D second edition, which will be coming up this Sunday night. And everybody seems to be having a lot of fun and everybody seems to really enjoy the game. So come check it out. Feel like AD&D. And then starting on the 8th, we'll be starting Palladium Fantasy with Bear and Hungar and who else? Wolfie, and who's the other one?
Yeah. Oh shit. Hungar, me,
Wolfie.
Was it
Brian.
Coco or Jason?
Oh, Brian. Brian's playing. Yeah. Just totally fucking forgot about Brian.
Brian's fine.
One guy we saw.
I couldn't remember if Brian was actually playing or not. So yeah, we got Brian. So that should be pretty cool. Come check that out.
Cool. All right, Max, give us your shill. And by the way, Nerd, check Discord, please. Go ahead.
All right, so this Friday, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm kind of the anti-Cody on Friday. we talk about all types of stuff. We talk about his opinion commentary on the hobby. Sometimes we cover game stuff, whatever. It's a chill stream, so really it's just a bunch of dudes sitting around or ladies sitting around a chair talking about nonsense. We do try to keep it on the gaming hobby as well. So I don't have a topic yet for this Friday. We'll figure that out. Sunday, Heathen Dog and I do mostly family friendly game reviews, deep dives, fundamentals. He's going to continue on with Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, and I'm going to give Cody a shout out during the stream, but I'm going to, because it was already planned. I wasn't trying to jump your stuff over here, but I'm going to be covering Palladium Combat by the book, and it took me 4 days 4 days to verify that I had just 2 rounds plus 1 action after that, completely correct by the book, and then a bunch of caveats to say this rule wasn't in the book, couldn't find this one, this is in a different book. So that should be fun. If you want to learn how to do Palladium combat, unarmed combat, step by step, boom, come watch us on Sunday.
Nice.
That's on
James?
Legion of Myth.
I thought I didn't have anything, but
Don't you have your Foundry stuff and all that?
yeah. So wait a minute, I do stuff, but I do have a YouTube channel, but mostly it's dedicated to showing people how to use my Foundry game systems, and I have about 8 of them. So, and we also have coming out very, very shortly the Against the Dark Master premium content module to go with the free game system. So it's the rule book and all of the rest of the stuff really done up really nicely, changes the view and so on. I mean, if you don't like Against the Dark Master and Roll Master and that sort of thing, well, then you probably won't like it. But so be it. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, that's my main gig is programming for Foundry virtual tabletop game systems.
Nice. All right, Brian, take us home.
Brian, gaming with ADHD, all sorts of tabletop gaming content when I get around to recording videos, but that's a completely separate issue. But love talking about all this. Super glad I get to be part of the cafe. But tomorrow on my channel, I am going to be talking to Wade Dyer, the creator of Fragged Empire. So, and Fragged Empire 2. But yeah, I'm gonna talk to him. I've been reading through the game. I am not that familiar with it at all yet, so hopefully I'll have read enough before I talk to him. But I'm excited. Been a while since I've done an interview, so come hang out.
He does characters in Starships really, really well.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look into that. Guys, we've got the 2 channels. We got this one here, which is for all of us doing our thing together and sort of trying to create something in some live plays and having a good time. And then there's my own personal channel, which is Bear the Gen X GM. And that's where, I do me. So if you want to follow that, go ahead, but please follow here because it makes Brian happy and we always want to make Brian happy. And next week when we do the 4-Color Cafe, if we've managed to work it out, Cody, Brian, and I are going to be creating a new format for the show that should work a lot better moving forward and allow us to download the StreamYard video and cut it up into chunks to post up for microbytes for people who want to see a review or see a this or see a that and not watch the entire show. And also next week, we're going to have Grant from Columbia Games back on talking about Harn and Harn World. So that should be an interesting interview as well. He was a decent guest last time he was here. So again, I will apologize for my outburst. I don't know. I have a limit. And when my limit is reached, you now know why they call me Bear. Other than that, peace, love, geek, and we'll see you guys real soon.